Hold up, guys. Bringing this over here. Okay, this is good. Give me 1 second, guys, and then we'll be back at it. We are just making sure to turn on our freaking multi-chat. We're trying to see what's up with everyone today. Also, guys, how is everyone doing? It's Friday. We all finna get lit. You know, it's the best day of the fucking of the week, man. Friday has to be like top 5 freaking days, bro. And the reason I say that is just because it is. It will forever be a top day. I don't even care if people are like, bro, Friday is not that good. No. What if you take ADHD drugs but you don't have ADHD? Is that even can you even make that as a YouTube video? I just saw that, right? I open up YouTube to check if stream's working. First thing I see is what happens. It says, what if you take ADHD drugs, but you don't have ADHD? We're saving that one because that might actually be a sleeper idea. Pull up, I'm looking how long these pages are. We got one. I think we're at 91, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So we're about to start the read, guys. So hell yeah. Well, I hope everyone's having an awesome day. Also, like top 10 moments, like probably the most emotional moment I've had in my whole experience of living has to be when they dropped the Lieberstrom #3. Bro, when they dropped that, I was just at a loss of words. It was beautiful. True beauty. I've never seen anything like it. Nothing will ever compare to Lieberstrom #3. Let me take a drink of my coffee and then we're going to top in. Top in. By the way, guys, how do we think of the new setup for the streams? I think it's pretty sick. Ugh. Ugh. I hate when my coffee's hot, but how else am I supposed to drink it cold? Yes. Alright, guys, here we go. Where's my pencil? Pencil? There it is. My goated lucky blue pencil. I've had this pencil for so many years. I've never cheated on it. Alright. My friend Liberalis is in some sort at the present moment following the news of the complete destruction of lions by fire. It is a disaster by which anyone might be shaken, let alone a person quite devoted to his hometown. This event has left him groping for the stouchness of spirit, which naturally enough he cultivated where it was a case of facing what to him were conceivable fears. One is not surprised, though, that they were never any advanced fears of such an unexpected, virtually unheard of catastrophe, considering that there was no precedent for it. Plenty of cities have suffered damage by fire, but none had ever been blotted out by one. Blotted out by one. Even when its buildings have been set aflame by enemy hands, in many places the flames die out, and even if they are continuously rekindled, they are seldom so all-consuming as to leave nothing for tools to demolish. Earthquakes, too, have hardly ever been so ruinous and violent as to raze whole towns. Well, you just don't live in California. You don't live in Asia, brother. Your whole cities are not done. There has never, in fact, been a fire so destructive as to leave nothing for a future fire to consume. But here a single night has laid low a host of architectural splendorous, any one of which might have been the glory of a separate city. In the depth of peace there has come such a blow as could not have been dreaded. In war itself, who would believe it? At a time when military conflict is in abeyance everywhere, where an international peace covers all parts of the globe, Lions, the showpiece of Gal, is lost to view. Fortune in variability allows those whom she strikes down in the sight of all chance to fear. Wait, where is it? Uh, chance to fear what they were going to suffer. The fall of anything great generally takes time, but here a single night is all there was between a mighty city and no city at all. It was destroyed, in fact, in less time than I had taken telling you of its destruction. Sturdy and resolute though he is when it comes to facing his own troubles, our liberalis has been deeply shocked by the whole thing, and he has some reason to be shaken. What is quite unlooked for is more crushing in its effect, and unexpectedness adds to the weight of a disaster. The fact that it was unforeseen has never failed to intensify a person's grief. This is a reason for ensuring that nothing ever takes us by surprise. We should protect our thoughts ahead of us at every turn and have in mind every possible eventuality instead of only the usual course of events. For what is there that fortune does not, when she please fell at the heights of its power? What is there that is not the most assailed and buffeted by her the more lustrous its attraction? What is there that is troublesome or difficult for her? Her assaults do not always come along a single path, or even a well recognized path. At one time, she will call in the aid of our own hands in attacking us at another. She will she will be content with her own powers in devising for us dangers for which no one is responsible. No moment is exempt. In the midst of pleasure, there are found the springs of suffering. In the middle of peace, war rears its head, and the bulwarks of one's security are transformed into sources of alarm. Friend turning foe, and ally turning enemy, the summer's calm is upset by sudden storms more served than those of winter. Yo, what the heck? In the absence of any enemy, we suffer all that an enemy might wreak on us over much prosperity if all else fails. Will hit on the instruments of its own destruction. Sickness assails those leading the most sensible lives. Tuber- tuberculosis, those with the strongest constitutions. Retribution, the utterly guiltless. Violence, the most secluded. Misfortune has a way of choosing some unprecedented means or other of impressing its power on those who might be said to have forgotten it. A single day strews in ruins all that was raised by a train of construction extending over a long span of time and involving a great number of separate works and a great deal of favor on the part of heaven. To say a day, indeed, is to put too much of a brake on the calamities that has hastened down upon us. An hour, an instant of time, suffices for the overthrow of empires. It should be some relief to our condition and our frailty, if all things were as shown in their perishings as they were in their coming into being. But as it is, the growth of things is a tardy process, and their undoing is a rapid manner. Nothing is durable, whether for an individual or for a society. The destinies of men and cities alike sweep onwards. Terror strikes amid the most tranquil surroundings, and without any disturbance in the background to give rise to these calamities, spring from the last expected quarter states, which stood firm through civil war as well as war's external collapse, without a hand being raised against them. How few nations have made up their prosperity a lasting thing. This is why we need to envisage every possibility and to strengthen the spirit to deal with the things which may conceivably come about. Rehearse them in your mind. Exile, torture, war, shipwreck, misfortune may snatch you away from your country, or your country away from you, may banish you into some wilderness. Their very surroundings in which the masses suffocate may become a wilderness. All the terms of our human lot should be before our eyes, we should be anticipating not merely all the complete commonly happens, but all that is conceivable capable of happening, if we do not want to be overwhelmed and struck numb by rare events, as if there were unprecedented ones. Fortune needs en- envisaging and envisaging envisaging in a thoroughly comprehensive way. Think how often towns in Asia or in Greece have fallen at a single earth tremor. How many villages in Syria and Macedonia have been engulfed. How much this form of disaster has wrought devastation to in Cyprus. How often Paphos have trembled about itself. Time and time again, we hear the news of annihilation of a whole city, and how small a fraction of mankind are. We are we who hear such news thus often, so let us face up to the blows of circumstance and be aware that whatever happens is never as serious as rumors make it out to be. Okay, that's different. Whoa, that's wow. So a city has burned, a wealthy city, and the glory of the provinces of which it was a feature, though it stood in a class of its own, perched perched as it was on a single hill, and that not a hill of very great dimensions, but time will sweep away the very traces of every one of those cities, of whose splendor and magnificence you nowadays hear. Look at the way the very foundation of one's famous cities of Greece have been eroded by now, to the point where nothing is left to show that they ever even existed, and in it not only the works of human hands, the waste away, nor only structured structures raised by human skill and industry, that the passing days demolish mountain massives crumble away. Whole religions have subsided. The waves have covered landmarks once far out of sight of the sea. The immense force of volcanic fires and the other made the mountain tops glow has eaten them away and reduced to lowly stature. What once was soaring peaks, reassuring beacons to the mariner, the work of nature herself suffer. So it is only right that we should bear the overthrow of cities and resignation. They stand just to fall. Such in the sum total of the end that awaits them, whether it is to blast of a subterranean explosion, throwing off the restraining weight above it, or the violence of floodwaters increasing to a prodigious degree, underground until it breaks down everything in its way, or a volcanic outburst fracturing the earth's crust or age, to which nothing is immune, overcoming them little by little, or plague carrying off its population and causing the deserted area to decay. It should be tedious to recount all the. Hi, Cat Savia. Hello. Alles gut, mein Freund. Okay. Hold up. Okay, there we go. Different ways by which fate may overtake them. One thing I know, all that works of mortal men lie under sentence of morality. We live among things that are destined to perish. Such they are the comforting reflections which I would offer our liberalis, who burns with a kind of passion beyond belief for his birthplace, which it may has only been consumed so as to be called to higher things. A setback has often cleared the way for greater prosperity. Many things have fallen only to rise to more exalted heights. The opponent of affluence in the capital, Timagenes used to declare that the other reason fires distressed him was the knowledge that would rise up afterwards would be of a better standard than what had burned. In the city of lions, too, one may presume that everyone will endeavor to make their work of restoration a greater, more noble achievement than what they have lost. Oh, that's kind of a banger. Mm, greater, wait a minute. Restoration greater, more normal achievement than what they have lost. May that work be of lasting duration, and may the new foundation be attended by happier auspicious auspices with a view of its lasting for a longer and indeed for all time. This is the 100th year since the town came into being, and even for a human being, such an age is by no means the utmost limit. Founded by Plancius in an area of concentrated population, it owes its growth to its favorable situation. Yet how many grievous blows it has had to suffer in the time it takes for a man to grow old. So that spirit must be trained to a realization and an acceptance of its lot. It must come to see that there is nothing fortunate will shrink from, that she wields the same authority over emperor and empire alike, and the same power over cities as over men. There are no ground for resentment in all this. We've entered into a world in which these are the terms life is lived on. If you're satisfied with that, submit to them. If you're not, get out. Whatever way you please, resent a thing by all means. If it represents an injustice, decrease against yourself personally. But if this same constraint is binding on the lowest and the highest alike, then make your peace again with destiny, the destiny that unravels all ties. There is no justification for using our graves and all the variety of monuments we were bordering the highways as a measure of our stature. In the ashes all men are leveled. We're born unequal, we die equal. And my words apply as much to cities as to those who live in them. Ardea was taken, and so was Rome. The great lawgiver draws no distinctions between us according to our birth or the celebrity of our names, save only while we exist. Only the reaching of morality ends, he declares. Away with snobbery. All the earth carries shall forthwith be subject to one law without discrimination. When it comes to all we're required to go through, we're equals. No one is more vulnerable than the next man, and no one can be more sure of his surviving to the morrow. King Alexander of Macedon once took up the story of geometry. Poor fellow, inasmuch as he would thus find out how minute the earth really was, or how minute the earth really was, the earth of which he had possessed himself of a tiny part, yes, poor fellow. I call him for the reason that he had bound to discover that this title was a false one. For who can be great in an area of minute dimensions? Anyways, the point he was being instructed in were of some subtlety, and such the learning of them demanded the closest concentration, not the sort of thing that which would be grasped by a crazed individual projecting his thoughts across the seas. Teach me, he said, the easy things. To which the instructor answered, these things are the same for everyone, equally difficult for all. Well, are the same for wait. Well, imagine the nature is saying to you, those things are grumble about are the same for everyone. I can give no one anything easier, but anyone who likes may make them easier for himself. How? By viewing them with equanimity. You must needs experience pain and hunger and thirst and grow old, assuming that you are vouchsafed and relatively long stay among men, and be ill and suffer loss, and finally perish. But you needn't believe the chatter of the people around you. There's nothing in all these evil insupportable or even hard. Those people are afraid of those things by a kind and general consent. Are you going to feel alarm at death? Then in the same way you might at some common report? What could be more foolish than a man's being afraid of people's words? Yep, he said it, my friend, Demetrius. has a nice way of putting things when he says, as he commonly does, that to him the utterances, utter, utterances of the unenlightened are as a noise emanating from the belly. What difference does it make to me, he asks, whether their rumbling comes from their upper or their nether regions? Nether regions is a freaking hard term. Whenever they say nether regions and they're talking about freaky stuff, I always giggle. Honestly, this one is kind of just like low key YOLO. He's just using his homeboy as an example. Like, oh yeah, my homeboy low key lost everything. Like, no cap, my fucking friend deadass just lost everything, but it's low key chill because there's worse shit to happen. And then he goes to talking about some. Oh, well, words don't matter. Yes, you're low key on some, right? Talking about every man being leveled when they're dead. I thought we already went through this part in the beginning of the book. I thought we were all equal because we all die. Like, what the heck? Okay, what utter foolishness is to be afraid that those who had a bad name can rob you of a good one. Just as the dread aroused in you by some common report has proved groundless, so too is the dread of things of which you would never be afraid if common report did not tell you to be. What harm could ever come to a good man from being besmirched by unwarranted gossip? We shouldn't even let it prejudice us against death, which itself has an evil reputation. Yet none of the people who Maligan it has put it to the rest. Until one does, it's rather rash to condemn a thing one knows nothing about, and yet one thing you do know, and that is this: how many people it's a blessing to, how many people it frees from torture, want, maladies, suffering, weariness, and no one has power over us when death is within our own power. Bitch, we all dying. We're all dead. GG's. You're cooked, bud. Okay, so then tomorrow we're on letter 95. Holy fuck. Okay, we're low-key on, we're getting there. We're at page 214, chat. 214. Hell yes. Finally, we're almost done with the book. Damn, this was a long read. So we are gonna go stream on, we're gonna go play games, people on YouTube. So if you guys want to tap in, go on Twitch or go on TikTok so y'all can watch. Okay, guys. Bye bye.